Listen, whispering within your soul, hints of laughter, hints of joy, sweet songs of sadness, of quenchless yearning for the light, for my love, your true home.
Long your heart has played the dancer, long you've toyed with mirror shadows of the treasures left behind you deep in your soul.
Long you've plumbed the dark for answers, long you've begged from beggars' empty hands, gifts of life they too were seeking, gifts none could share.
Friend, how long will you wander? Friend, as long as you seek your home in a land where all are strangers, love locks her door.
Leave to the weak his craven life, to the coward leave his dreaming. Oh, my saint, wake up, reclaim the light, seek the truth behind all seeming.
Leave to the weak his craven life, to the coward leave his dreaming. Oh, my saint, wake up, reclaim the light, seek the truth behind all seeming.
Turn, turn, turn within, in silence of soul, in cave of love, find my abode.
Listen, listen, whispering within your soul, hints of laughter, hints of joy, sweet songs of sadness, of quenchless yearning for the light, for my love, your true home. So now we'll do a couple of chants to go into meditation. We're going to move back to our original setup.
Sit down. So our first chant is Saint Teresa of Avila's admonition. Let nothing disturb you, nothing affright you. All things will pass, but God changes not. Patient endurance brings you to victory. Once you have God, you'll want nothing more. Let nothing disturb you, nothing affright you. All things will pass, but God changes not. Patient endurance brings you to victory. Once you have God, you'll want nothing more. God alone, God alone, God God changes not. Patient endurance brings you to victory. Once you have God, you'll want nothing more. God alone, God alone, God alone's all we ever need. God alone, God alone, God alone's all we ever need. Let nothing disturb you, nothing affright you. All things will pass, but God changes not. Patience, endurance brings you to victory. Once you have God, you'll want nothing more. God alone, God alone, God alone's all we ever need. God alone, God alone, God alone's all we ever need. Let nothing disturb you, nothing affright you. All things will pass, but God changes not. Patience, endurance brings you to victory. Once you have God, you'll want nothing more. God alone, God alone, God alone's all we ever need. God alone, God alone, God alone's all we ever need. God alone, God alone, God alone's all we ever need. God alone, God alone, God alone's all we ever need. Let nothing disturb you, nothing affright you. All things will pass, but God changes not. Patient endurance brings you to victory. Once you have God, you'll want nothing more. God alone, God alone, God alone's all we ever need. God alone, God alone, God alone's all we ever need. God alone, God alone, God alone's all we ever need.
Now we'll go into meditation with this next chant. Reveal thyself, reveal thyself. Paramhansa Yogananda gave this as the introductory prayer to all of his disciples, and Swami Kriyananda put it to music. I'd like for you to close your eyes and focus inwardly, no matter where you are on the planet, and feel the presence of God within your own self. Focusing at the point between the eyebrows, the Christ center, the Kustasta Chaitanya in Sanskrit, is the center of God's universe within you. Call to that mighty source to come to you right now, to reveal herself, himself, itself to you. Reveal thyself, 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 reveal thyself. reveal thyself, 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 now mentally, so let's sit upright wherever we may be and the spine erect, focusing at the Christ center, at the point between the eyebrows. Feel the link up with the pineal gland, that mirror to infinity. As Jesus said in the Bible, the light of the body is the eye. If thy eye is single, thy whole body will be filled with light. Feel your heart opening as you call, reveal thyself. Mentally offering your heart and mind to the infinite Christ, dwelling inside of each and every human being on this planet. May we draw the blessing through our own self-effort to become one with Christ, one with God in creation. As you feel that divine touch in your heart, feel yourself lifted into a state of breathlessness, using your breath, slowly inhaling and exhaling and going beyond the breath. If you know the baby Kriya, Hong Saw, practice Hong Saw. If you know Kriya, practice a few Kriyas and go into the practice of baby Kriya. Breathlessness is deathlessness, the Master said. It's the link between our body with our soul, with spirit. try to go into a state of perfect stillness. As the Master would say, I command my breath to make no sound.
Remaining in for self-healing. Inspiration of two kinds: the rediscovery or rearrangement of thoughts already existing in the mind, and the sudden appearance of new thoughts or new from the superconscious. This higher inspiration certainly is more to be desired than the lower, for it is based in truth and not in imagination. It is not always easy, however, to recognize the difference between lower and higher inspiration, particularly when the lower is vitalized by the emotions. When inspiration comes, receive it with calm love and see whether, untouched by emotion, its impulse grows stronger or weaker. Love is the water that nourishes true inspiration. Repeating in a loud voice in order to command the attention of the conscious mind. I hold my thoughts up to the calmness within.
I hold my thoughts up to the calmness within.
In calmness, I receive inspiration from my higher self.
In calmness, I receive inspiration from my higher self.
I hold my thoughts up to the calmness within.
I hold up my thoughts to the calmness within.
In calmness, I receive inspiration from my higher self.
In calmness, I receive inspiration from a higher self.
Now in a more conversational tone, I hold my thoughts up to the calmness within.
I hold my thoughts up to the calmness within.
In calmness, I receive inspiration from my higher self.
In calmness, I receive inspiration from my higher self.
And now, softer in a whisper, taking it into the subconscious, I hold my thoughts up to the calmness within.
To the calmness within.
In calmness, I receive inspiration from my higher self.
In calmness, I receive inspiration from my higher self.
Now, in silence, without moving lips or tongue, taking it even further into the subconscious, I hold my thoughts up to the calmness within. In calmness, I receive inspiration from my higher self. Now, with rising aspiration, bringing your attention to the point between the eyebrows, taking the affirmation into the superconscious mind in deep silence, I hold my thoughts up to the calmness within. In calmness, I receive inspiration from my higher self. I hold up my thoughts to the calmness within. In calmness, I receive inspiration from my higher self. Prayer. O Spirit, thou art all truth. In thee lies the solution to my ever need. Inspire me now, Lord. Show me which path to follow of the many that lie before me.
A reading from the Rays of the One Light weekly commentaries on the Bible and the Bhagavad Gita. So week 35, who are true Christians? Truth is one and eternal. Realize oneness with it in your deathless self within. The following commentary is based on the teachings of Paramhansa Yogananda. Jesus Christ said in chapter 10 of the Gospel of St. John, "All that ever came before me are thieves and robbers, but the sheep did not hear them." Many Christians, not surprisingly, quote this saying in condemnation of other spiritual teachers, not only the Old Testament prophets, but also Buddha, Krishna, and others who lived before Jesus, as well as, by inference, any who came after him. Yet Jesus himself said in St. Matthew chapter 5, "Think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill." Nowhere do we find Jesus condemning or even gently criticizing other spiritual masters. His criticisms were reserved for worldly attitudes and for those hypocritical Pharisees who had allowed a religion to become for them a pretense. Paramhansa Yogananda explained that the expression, "all that ever came before me," referred to those spiritual teachers who placed their egos and their self-importance ahead of the Christ consciousness, in the sense of drawing people's devotion to themselves and not offering it where alone it truly belongs, to God. Yogananda himself was very firm in this regard. For example, he never spoke of anyone as his disciple. Instead, he always insisted they are God's disciples. God is the guru, not I. Ego is a way station on the soul's journey toward enlightenment. The soul is first trapped in lower bodily forms. Slowly, it evolves to the human level, at which point self-consciousness appears. Only in human form can self-consciousness transcend material form altogether, including the lower identity of ego consciousness, and discover the true divine self within. Self-consciousness manifested as ego is an incentive to deliberate self-development. Later, in this process of development, however, the ego becomes an obstruction. Inevitably, new spiritual aspirants do not emerge effortlessly from the vortex of ego consciousness. Desire must be offered up resolutely and ever more wholeheartedly on the altar of infinity. It is a gradual process, and few, even among those who seek to help others, are free of ego. If, however, their motive in teaching is not to serve, but to be served, they deserve a severe reprimand as Jesus gave them. For their direction of development is no longer upward, but downward. In the name of giving up desires, they are creating new ones. As it says in the Bhagavad Gita, in the 3rd chapter, desire obscures even the wisdom of the wise. Their relentless foe it is, a flame never quenched. Intellect, mind, and senses, these combined are referred to as the seat of desire. Desire, through them, deludes and eclipses the discrimination of the embodied soul. O Arjuna, discipline your senses, and having done so, work to destroy desire, annihilator of wisdom and of self-realization. Give God the credit for everything you do. See him as the true doer. Thus, through Holy Scripture, God has spoken to mankind. Om. Om. Om.
I'd like to read from Whispers from Eternity, the book of prayer poems by Paramhansa Yogananda. This is entitled, Prayer Demand, Make Me Anything, a Christian or a Hindu, anything to realize thee. Let me be Christian, Jew, Hindu, Buddhist, Mohammedan, or Sufi. I care not what my religion, race, creed, or color, if only I can win my way to thee. But let me be none of these if that identification enmeshes me in an enclosing net of religious or social formalities. Let me travel the royal high road of realization which leads to thee. If I am traveling on some bypath of religion, lead me unto the one common highway of realization, which leads straight to thee. Send me the sunshine of thy wisdom, that it lead me to the morning of my growing powers, and send me the moon of thy mercy to guide me rightly, if ever I am lost in the dark night of sorrow. This particular topic today, who are the true Christians, is very important. Yogananda would often say, when this I shall die, then I will know who I am. The sense of self-definitions that we create for the ego, for our personalities, binds us to the wheel of reincarnation. It binds us to the wheel of suffering. Ultimately, we have to break the chains of self-identification in order to know the true self. And what is that true self? It's that eternal Atman, that eternal spirit, the nature of the soul, the higher self, that is eternally living, ever conscious, and ever new joy or happiness. Sat Chidananda, Yogananda described the essence of God as ever existing, ever conscious, ever new joy or bliss. And that Sat Chit Ananda dwells in every aspect of creation. There's nothing, nowhere where God is not. But the most important thing for us to remember, and in this topic today, is that God is here right now, dwelling in our own self. This is what Yogananda came to bring, and the masters of all religions have come to bring, is an understanding of who we are on the deepest level. The eternal question, who am I? Ramana Maharshi, who is the great yogi of South India, who was an avatar, Yogananda visited him in 1935. And they didn't have much of a conversation. And they were just in a state of bliss. Because once you're in that state of bliss, all answers come. And this is what Yogananda and the great masters have come to bring, is for us to get in touch with our higher self, that eternal Satchidananda, that ever conscious, ever new bliss, ever existing, ever conscious, ever new bliss within ourselves. And once we attain that bliss, we understand the nature of why we are here. And that is to be channels of joy and light and bliss and happiness to the whole world. I remember once I was on the plane traveling from Sacramento or Los Angeles to Denver, Colorado. And I was sitting, I ended up in the middle seat. We call that the panino, the sandwich. I was in the sandwich. I was the ham sandwich. And I noticed that the person to my left was reading the Bible. And I thought, oh, this is a Bible student. He's probably going to seminary or something like that. And I knew at some point he was going to approach me about about his belief. And sure enough, on the flight, he leaned over to me and he said, "Have you read this book?" Oh, I said, "I read it all the time, but it's the matter of interpretation of how you read." And he went into a spiel about Jesus being the only way and him being a Christian nationalist. And I understood where he was coming from. He wants to be promote Christianity being the only religion, true religion on the planet, and especially for the United States of America. And I listened to what he had to say, and I said, there's certain passages in the Bible that gives us a whole nother explanation. And I tell you, I feel like I know that I'm a true Christian, but I interpret this book in a completely different way than you do. And I quoted to him Yogananda's central message from the Bible. Jesus is on the mountaintop and he's fasting for 40 days and 40 nights. And Satan appears to him and says, I have fresh baked bread here for you. Why don't you eat it? You're hungry. I know you're hungry. You've been fasting for a long time now. Take part of this gluten-free fresh bread. We don't know if Jesus was gluten-free or not, but he declined. He said, "Get thee behind me, Satan. Don't you know that man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word out of the mouth of God? People don't realize, but Yogananda, his whole teaching, his entire message of Kriya Yoga and self-realization is based on this Bible quote. Man shall not live by bread alone, Jesus said, but by every word out of the mouth of God. The mouth of God is within every human being. And what is the mouth of God? I'd like for everyone just to place your hand at the base of your skull. This is the mouth of God within every human being. This is, in scientific terms of anatomy, is the medulla oblongata. The medulla oblongata, Yogananda explained, is the mouth of God within every human being. And it's the doorway by which we come into the body and channel energy, and gradually we learn to bring that energy up to the third eye or the point between the eyebrows. We gradually, in our practice of Kriya Yoga, which Yogananda taught, is to awaken the desire to know the truth, to know God in ourselves. In the Bible, we talk about Emmanuel at the birth of Jesus. They said the birth of Jesus, he's the manifestation of Emmanuel, God with us, where we are children of Emmanuel. God is with us right now. We don't have to wait to become a Christian nationalist for God to come in our lives. Our teaching of self-realization is very, very scientific. Yogananda would pinch his flesh and he would say, if you only knew how to explode the atoms in 1 gram of your flesh, you could light the city of Chicago for a week. And this is what he taught. He taught how to harness the energy through the recharging exercises. For those of you who are studying the teachings of Yogananda through Ananda or through the Self-Realization Fellowship, it's one and the same. We teach the recharging exercises as the ability to use your willpower to draw the conscious cosmic energy through the medulla oblongata, through the base of the brain, bring it through the willpower centered at the point between the eyebrows, and center that energy into every part of your body until you become an electromagnetic being of light, to become like Jesus, like Yogananda, a radiant Christ being. This Christ consciousness, Yogananda explains, is the essence of God in creation. God with us. God is already with us. We don't have to believe necessarily in the teachings of Jesus Christ. We have to live those teachings of Jesus Christ. We have to manifest the gospel of Jesus Christ in the body in our own lives today. Yogananda, in his book, The Second Coming of Christ, and Swami Kriyananda wrote the Revelations of Christ. He goes through the Bible and analyzes the Bible in a whole different light than any born-again Christian would look at the Bible. I was born again. I went to church every Sunday. My mother took us at a very young age, and we read the Bible every night. Every night she would read Bible stories to me. I studied the Bible as a young child, but I stood up in Sunday school one day and I said, you know, something is wrong here. I've come here all my life. I was 18 years old, and I said, I've come here all my life, and I've never been able to convert to your religion because there's always been something wrong about it, because it doesn't embrace all traditions, religious teachings around the world. Your way is the only way, and I can't believe that. And people afterwards came up to me and said, Brother Smith, what's wrong with what's wrong? I said, there's nothing wrong. I feel your love. I feel your sincerity, but the teaching is not correct. Autobiography of a Yogi came into my life around that time. It was collecting dust in my family home. And for years, I just read the Bible quotes that Yogananda gave in his autobiography. I didn't read it. I looked at the photographs of the saints of India and around the world. But I just was interested in how he was interpreting the Bible. I remember giving the autobiography of a yogi to a Christian minister who was a minister at Yosemite National Park. I was living there for a period of time after I came on the spiritual path. I was studying the self-realization fellowship lessons. I was meditating. I was practicing all the techniques, except for Kriya Yoga. I hadn't taken Kriya yet. And I was at Yosemite National Park. I was in transition between living in Los Angeles and studying in the fellowship in Hollywood and the Lake Shrine with various direct disciples of Yogananda. I was inspired by Yogananda's teachings, and I knew I was a disciple of his. But when I was in Yosemite, when I left Los Angeles, there was a church there. So I was going to that church, and we did the history of Christianity. And we had films relating to the history of Christianity that we were following. And the last film was shown. And I said to the minister, here's a book that I believe will take us in the direction of the future of Christianity. And I'm going to give this to you as a gift, because I think you'll learn some things from the Bible quotes that are interpreted in a unique way. And at that point, I moved to the Ananda village, not far from Yosemite in Northern California. And this minister wrote back to me, and he said, I read your book, and in chapter so-and-so, it states that John the Baptist was the guru of Jesus Christ. And I can't accept this. This book is of the devil, and so forth and so on. So we broke off all communication at that point. But this movement of self-realization is here for one purpose and one purpose only, is to teach us the mysteries of the heavens and the earth. And this is what inspired me so much when Jesus says in the Bible, to the masses I speak in parables, but to you, my disciples, I give you the mysteries of the heavens and the earth. And this is Yogananda's message of self-realization. Yogananda said, self-realization is the knowing in all parts of body, mind, and soul that you are now in possession of the kingdom of heaven. You don't need to pray that it come to you. All you need to do is increase your knowing. I had the opportunity of living in Europe over the course of my 46 years of being actually it's 47 years I'm celebrating here in August. I came to Ananda village and started studying Yogananda's teachings in 1977. And so I've never regretted a moment for my decision of following this path of self-realization. It literally gave me the answers to all the questions that I had about Christianity and religion, really. I lived for 7 years in Italy. During my journey here at Ananda, Swami Kriyananda asked me, I'd like for you to come to Italy, Ram. And it was very interesting. The day that he said that to me, it was my 28th birthday. I was living in San Francisco at the time. I was the spiritual director of the Ananda House in San Francisco. We had 30 people living in this 3-story mansion in Pacific Heights. And it was my birthday, and my parents came up from Los Angeles and took me out. And afterwards, they said, "You're just throwing your life away, son. You had all these great jobs, and now you're living." I said, "I've given my life to God. I don't know what you're talking about. I love God, and I'm seeking God's love in my life. And who knows, God may send me to Italy someday." I came back to the ashram that afternoon after having lunch with my parents. And someone came running up to me and said, Ram, come quick. Swami just said he's going to send you to Italy." Swami Kriyananda was just like Yogananda. He had the attunement to be in the consciousness of everyone around him. And I tell you, when I said that to my parents, he tuned into that, and God was speaking, and he heard the voice of God saying, "Okay, I'm going to send Ram to Italy." And for 7 years, I lived in Italy. And in 1989, I had the blessing of meeting Pope John Paul II at the Vatican. It was one of the most thrilling moments of my life. We had a choir of 20 people, a 20-voice choir, and we came to this audience. 10,000 people were at this gathering. 10,000 at the Vatican audience hall to meet the Pope. And we sang one of Yogananda's songs, "Door of My Heart," in Italian. And it was one of the most thrilling moments. Those 10,000, who were mostly Italian, began to sing with us. "Porta del mio cor, tengo aperta io per te. Verrai tu, una volta vieni a me. Door of my heart, open wide I keep for thee. Wilt thou come, just for what?" The people began singing this in Italian with us. And it was so thrilling, because if we would have stood up and said, "Okay, the next song is by a Hindu yogi. His name is Yogananda, and he wrote this song," I don't think anyone would have sung with us. But since we sang it spontaneously that day in Rome, at the Vatican, those people felt the love and the devotion, that bhakti yoga that Yogananda exuded through his songs, this "Door of My Heart." He used the original Bengali and translated it into English, and then into Italian. It's been translated into German, and all around the world, people sing that song. Everyone should be singing that song. At the end of Swami Kriyananda's life, that was the only song that he would sing in the chant, "Door of My Heart." He forgot about every other chant of Yogananda or the chants that he wrote. He would just sing "Door of My Heart," because it's in the heart that Christ is dwelling, that love for God. As we cultivate that love for God, we become one with the Christ. In Autobiography of a Yogi, Yogananda goes into a state of oneness, samadhi. And then afterwards he says, "I cognize this imperium to be a point of intuitive perception in my own heart." The cultivation of the natural love of the heart is what our duty is as followers of this path of self-realization. We must cultivate, like a gardener cultivating tilling the soil, not just tilling the soil, because you can till this clay soil out here and nothing will grow. You have to cultivate it with compost and manure. You have to tend it with love, the seeds. So those seeds of cosmic consciousness, of self-realization will grow with love and devotion. When Swami Kriyananda came to Yogananda in 1948, Yogananda said to him, "Get devotion. Walter, get devotion. You're too intellectual. You reason and too much on a mental level. Cultivate that love in your heart for God." And that's our duty, to become one with the Christ consciousness, that God within us, that eternal Emmanuel. To become one with that Christ, we must love the Lord our God with all our hearts, with all our minds, as Jesus said, and with what? With all our strength. And do what? Love our neighbor as ourselves. On this stands all the laws and all the prophets of all religions. Master Yogananda said, self-realization has come to unite all religions, not only those who are here, he would say, but thousands of youth must go north, south, east, and west to cover the earth with little colonies, to demonstrate that simplicity of living and high thinking will lead to the greatest happiness. Spiritual community is something he advocated. That's what you all are developing there in Rhode Island. It hasn't manifested in a physical location other than the chapel that we have there, but it should manifest first in your own heart, in your own home. Create a place in your home where you have an altar set up, where you have the image of Jesus and the masters of India. East meeting West, Christianity meeting Hinduism, to show that they're one and the same. Yogananda said, "I've come to bring the original Christianity and the original yoga taught by Lord Jesus and Krishna to show that they're one and the same." He called this the second coming of Christ. And we're just at the beginning of this movement. Yogananda transitioned 72 years ago this year. I know this for a fact because I was born in that 1952, 9 months to the day of his passing. 72 years ago, this movement is only just beginning. And you'll see in the future, it will spread through the world like wildfire, with little groups like yourself and gradually developing into communities that will bring this whole planet into a new civilization of the second coming of Christ, finding the Christ within. So who are the true Christians? Those who seek the Christ within, the Christ consciousness, no matter what religion you follow. That Christ is the inner light, centered here at the point between the eyebrows and in your heart. That inner light of Christ will guide you from incarnation to incarnation until you become a master yourself, a true guru yourself. Every person in your earthly family will be influenced by your realization, and you will help them in future incarnations. You come again and again until you attain this Christ. Might as well cultivate that desire in your heart now. This is the time to do it, right now, today. And I hope this lesson, this sermon that I've given you today will inspire you to seek God, the kingdom of heaven first, and all these things shall be added unto you. You are a true Christian when you attain and seek the Christ consciousness within yourself. God bless you all. We'll have our offering now.
Please take what you would like to give, place it in your right hand, and repeat after me. Divine Mother, we offer to thee the fruit of our labors. Bless this offering, that it serve as a channel of thy light to truth-seeking souls everywhere. Peace. Amen.
Sure. Stand back here.
So that's, don't look there, that's the candle.
Is that so? This is the prayer of St. Francis, and we're going to ask you to sing along with us on the second time through. Lord Most High, our Heavenly Father, all our lives we dedicate to Thee. All our labors, all our joys and woes, all our pleasure, all our melody. Make us each a channel of Thy peace. When in darkness, guide us from above. Where there's sorrow, may we sow Thy joy. Where there's hatred, may we share Thy love. Sing with us. Lord Most High, our Heavenly Father, all our lives we dedicate to Thee. All our labors, all our joys and woes, all our pleasure, all our melody. Make us each a channel of Thy peace. When in darkness, guide us from above. Where there's sorrow, may we sow Thy joy. Where there's hatred, may we share Thy love. Where there's sorrow, may we sow Thy joy. Where there's hatred, may we share Thy love. Now we'll